Yeah, good evening, everyone. Am I audible? Am I audible? Please let me know.
Hey, hi, good evening, everyone.
Yeah,
Your
is it
voice is
clear?
not clear. Your voice is not clear. It's echoing.
Okay, Puneet, is it clear now? Please let me know.
Yeah.
Okay, fine. So, guys, welcome to our peer dot clarification session. Where we start the session, I'd like to tell you a few things about this session. So, you will not be able to speak in the session, and only thing you can do is you can type in the chat box. So, yeah, before wasting any time, let's start our session. Yeah, Puneet, now over to you.
Sure. Just give me 1 minute and then we will start so that in case if there are any other people, they can also join in. Just wait for
Sure.
1 minute. Then. Okay, so let's just start with the session. So let me know once you can see my screen. Can you guys see my screen? Now it would be fine. Can you check whether my voice is now fine? It would be fine now, correct? The volume of mic was less. Little bit louder now. Cool. So let's just start. So as we discussed in the last session, our mode of taking the doubts has been changed. Correct? So earlier we used to ask the doubt from you during the class. Since a lot of people don't used to speak up, either they were afraid or whatever was the reason. So we decided to change the mode and we asked you to share your queries over the email so that I can do a quick recap over here and then we can just go one by one. Now, see, the question we have got over here is what is Power Query? Now, Power Query is a component of Power BI, component of Power BI, which could help you to clean the data. So basically what happens is if you're doing any analysis in Excel, if you find something as not good, you can click it over here and change it over here. Correct? But in Power BI, you cannot do it. Why? Because Power BI work on the concept of databases. So what happens is sometimes when you get a data, it is in not appropriate condition. Whether the way data is stored is not correct, it is in a pivot form. Somewhere your values are missing. Somewhere you have to create a union to get a single data. So it's basically a collection of steps which you can do to basically make your data clean and look good so that you can do an analysis. And when you are doing any analysis on the visuals, you are not seeing any kind of noise. Like if you forget to clean, for example, if I connect this data source, Now if I connect this Power BI over here, I click on Excel workbook and I connect this file. Which is my sample superstore. Now I connect this file, bring in these tables, and without looking at this table, I just load the data and I start doing my analysis. Now, if you will start doing an analysis, what problem will happen is, if your data is not cleaned, it will look like a like a lot of noise will be there in your data. Like if I click it over here, I take this table, I take this table and I take my regions over here. Now, when I take my regions, what you will see in your data set, if your data is not clean, you will see a null value coming up over here. Correct? If I just take it over here, as of now, over here, if I take it, you will see a null values coming up. Correct? So if I'm just showing the regions over here, like okay, if you take it sales, this is coming as 0. Suppose I'm giving it as a slicer. Now, if I'm putting something on the slicer, like region only, so what will happen? It will show you blanks. Correct? Or in case in a particular data set where there is a sales column, if what should be a sales? It should be a numeric number. In this numeric number, if a text comes up, what will happen? It will show you some errors. So basically, to make your data in a well-structured format, which gives you an accurate analysis, we use Power Query to transform the data over here. And how do you go over here in the Power Query is, you can go to home and you can click on transform data. There is a drop down and you can click over here and you can do the transformation of the data over here. Now, what steps you can do? You have plenty of steps which you can do it over here. The steps which are given to you is basically kept in mind that this tool will be used by various industries. Now, various industries uses various types of data. So you might not be using some of the steps for your industry. Some of the steps might be valid. Like, I guess no one would have seen using sine theta, cosine theta, tan theta over here. These basically probably the architects or someone in the research field will use. Correct? Then you will never use a square root, cube root, log values. Log values probably you can use in case you are in your statistical analysis. You will not use a lot of other things over here, but they have given keeping in mind that you would require at some of the other steps. So in this Power Query, you can bring a lot of data. You can bring a lot of data. You can bring another sources. Correct. You can bring another source in case you want to bring it over here. Like I want to bring more tables. I go over here and I bring another table over here. This time, instead of bringing all the table, I just bring one table. Now over here, I don't know what does this orders means and what does this orders to mean. So what we basically do, we can rename it. Correct. We can see what are the steps being applied. Over here, you can see there are a lot of blank values. You can remove the blank rows. Now you can see this column headers are not coming proper. So we have to align first rows as header. Why? Because if you will not align first rows as headers, so what will happen? Sales will come over here and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Suppose this data is given up. If this is not considered as header, what will happen? The data type will be taken as a text. If it is taken as a text, you cannot show your total sales. So you will have to make this first rows as headers. You can make it as a first rows as headers over here, right? You can see up over here, there are a lot of blank values. So you can say remove top 2 rows. You can just remove top 2 rows. You can take first rows as header. Now this is data which is provided to you. Half of the data is in one table, half of the data is in another table. Now suppose if you apply the changes, and go to Power BI, now I wanted to see my total sales. That what is my total sales? So what will be your total sales? It will be a combination of orders plus orders new region, correct? Now if these are coming up in your two different table, what will happen? You will take this sales and you will take this sales. What will happen? It will show you two bars. You will never be able to see what is the total sales as a cumulative total sales. You cannot do it. Why? Because half my data is coming in the another table, half is coming in the other table. So what you can do using the transformation, you can combine these two tables and create a single table. So you can go over here, you can append queries as new. Then you basically orders and orders new region. Click OK. Correct? Now this will come up over here. Now once you have this, you can take the total sales out of here. You can split the column. You can replace any values. Correct? So there are other steps also, like you can unpivot it or pivot it. Unpivot form is the data where it is non-summarized form of the data. You can format it. You want to bring everything uppercase, lowercase, capitalize each word. You want to multiply a certain column over here. So there are a lot of steps which you can do over there and do. So how did orders new region data set came? I went into the home and I connected it as a new source and I connected this Excel workbook. So how you can do an append is, first you have to see which tables you have to append. I have to append orders and I have to append orders new region. Correct? So I go to this append queries over here and it gives you two options. One option is you place this data below this or you place this data below this, or you create altogether a new table in which this data will come. So what I do, I will create a new table. Let me just delete this. So I go up over here, I say append queries as new. When you say append queries as new, it will ask you how many tables you want to append. Basically, how many tables you want to make it as a single table. So if you have two tables, you will select two tables. If it has more, you can say three or more. So you connect over here, orders new region, and click OK, and a new table will come up over here. Now, while you are appending, you have to keep in mind one thing. In your first table, your column should be the same. If your first table has 21 columns, this has your 21 columns. So your resultant should be 21. If it is more than 21, that means either the columns are different or the names are not matching. Like if you will see in this table, look at over here. How many columns I have in my orders? 21. Here I have 22. So resultant should be your 22 only. If it is 23, you have to check why it's coming as 23. For example, here it was coming as row ID, I make it as a row. So what will happen? Though it's 21 only, here it is 22 only, but resultant will give you 23. So you will have to go back and check whether that extra column is coming up. Is it a unique column, that is, it is not present in the other data set, or there is a mismatch in your or 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 basically, is it a different one? So I go up over here. From here I can see this is row ID which is coming null. I can go over here and I can make it as a column profiling based top. You can see this is also coming blank. This is also coming blank, and this row ID is also coming blank. So I get an idea somewhere your names are not matching. I can change it back and it will come up over here. So basically it says, can you just refresh the data? Because 5 days also ago, you added the same data. Probably you can check whether there is a new update in the data or not. Correct? So how okay, I will reduce my speed. So how I am appending, I just go on this option. Correct. Column name, see, technically, can we, firstly, your idea behind appending is the same column names. You can have more or less number of columns based on the data set, because suppose you are storing a data, I'm storing a data, I might store one or two extra things, you are not storing it. So in that case, it will come up over extra over here. So Swapnil, can you just expand? Can we say replace values as appending the data? No, it is not replacing the data. It's like, suppose, let me give you an example over here. So you have there is a family X, correct? There are people A, name of the people, and their salaries are given. In this family, there is A, B, C, D, E, and their salaries are 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now there is another family, and this family is Y, and they stay, this is family Y, and they also have this different salaries over here. Correct? Now these family X, Y, Z, L, M. Correct? Now this is one family, this is one family, but they are part of same family. Correct? Now what I'm doing is to see their consolidated salary, I just place it below. This is appending, so that I get a one complete data. I can have a one complete view of the data. That's the meaning of appending. So Bajrang, I just showed you over here. If you don't, if you see, if you have two different data, if the data is in two different columns, tables, you have to see total sales. You have to see what is my total sales. You will not be able to see, because one table will give you the data for one sales, another will give you the for the another. But I wanted to see what I have done as a total sales, how I can do it. It will only come when you have a same data in same table. Okay, so this is, no, merging means extra column. Yes, Power Query is used as an ETL tool. Yes. You extract the data, transform the data, and load it in your Power BI. Okay. If some column name mismatches, see, where if you are given this data over here in Excel, how will you do it? How will you do it? Okay, you have to create one table. What is the column name? You will look over here. Where is name coming up? Here. You copy paste it. You copy paste it like this and come up over here. In appending, you don't have to see anything. What happens is appending will automatically work. It will see what is the name of the column name. It's present over here. It will place it here. Its salary, it's here. It will put it up over here. The only difference, the main thing over here in the appending is name should be exact. Suppose you mention it as a name over here. Now, does this name and this name matches? Technically, it looks same, but for machines, these are two different columns. These are your two different things. If you see exact, it will give you as a false. These are not same. So in this case, what will happen? It will look for name. It does not find. Now what it do? Salary. Salary is here. It will pick it up and place it below. Now it has to take this value also. So it will take it over here, place this here, and create a new column. Now since there is no column over by the name, here it will show you null, and it will show you null over here. Correct? Yes, order of columns is not. So in merging, you should have one unique column. In merging, your most of the columns should be the same. Okay, Srinivas? Cool. So in your append query, you are basically adding a more number of rows. Whereas in your merge, you are taking an extra column. So merge is like your joins in databases. Correct, Ayush. When you have to increase the rows, you use append. When you have to increase the columns, you do the merge. Now see, you have to apply logically. If data is written like this, you will not append this. Can you append this? Can you append this data below this? No, because these are not, this will not make any sense. This will not make any sense to append it. But if the data is like this, see, in the earlier case, you even cannot merge it. You cannot even merge it, nor you can append it. But in this case, you can merge it. Cool. So these are your some features of Power Query. Correct. When we have a few records in columns and remaining are null, then we can delete the column. See, we will only delete, we will not never delete a column if it has 50% data. How you can delete a data with a 50% values? You cannot delete a data. If it is nulls, you will keep it as a nulls. You will only remove the nulls where your entire row is empty. Like if you have been given a data over here like this. A, 10, B, this is null. Over here, there is no data. You have D, E, F. You will not, if you will remove null, it will only remove this. But you cannot remove this B and E because there is a data in a subsequent columns. There is a data in subsequent columns. So how you can do it? Okay, there are only two columns, it will not make any sense. Now suppose their ages are given up. And you remove this nulls, what will happen? It will remove this also, it will remove this also. So this is not a correct way to remove this is the live data of Power BI only. It's easy to understand over here. You will not be able to understand in Power BI. See, you want to see in Power BI, I can show it. You enter the data over here. See, it will not cause any problem in the data modeling. Your data modeling, your name of the columns should match. Name, age, salary. You have Puneet, age 20, 30, salary 20. This is blank. This is all blank. Correct. You take Amit. This is blank. Salary is 30. You take Rahul. Over here it is 32. This is blank. You take this is blank. Sumit 44, 45. Correct. This is your data which is given to you. Now, if you will do the remove null, now see, if you do the remove null, see technically what will happen, remove nulls, remove blank rows. It will only remove the complete blank rows. Now, if you remove this, if you filter out this null, see, even if you select these columns, you try to say remove blank rows, it will not remove it. You will have to filter it out. And if you filter it out, what problem will happen? This data will be eradicated completely. One row will come less. At least there was a salary which was given there. Now tomorrow data refreshes and the age comes up. You will lose out on the data because you have already filtered it out. So it will not come over there. Correct? So if you have not heard about data modeling, probably it will cover up, that thing will be covered up in your upcoming classes. So you can ignore that. Correct. How to remove specific row, you cannot do it. If you say in the data you have to remove 15th row, you cannot do it. You can only remove top rows, bottom rows, alternate rows, blank rows, rows with the error. You cannot delete anything over here. Now visualizations. How to decide which type of visual to create. Very interesting topic and very debatable topic. Why interesting and debatable? Because you're interesting if you choose correct charts, your data will be correctly visible. If your chart is bad, you will not be able to use it. Why debatable? People sometimes say why we are using this chart in this type of data. But you can think from this perspective, what is the requirement of the user and what is the data which is given to them. Now, suppose there is a date field and they want to see a trend. When you have a date field and you want to see a trend, you will use a line chart. When you have a sales for different dimension apart from date, they want to compare the values. You will create a bar chart or you can say column chart. In case they want to compare the ranking, you will use a bar chart. Now they wanted to see the market share of each category or each dimension. You can use pie chart or a donut chart. You want to compare sales and profit both. You want to compare your sales and profit both. You can make a dual axis chart. What you can do? Dual axis chart. Like I wanted to see my I just remove this. You want to pick it up as a region. You wanted to see the sales. You can show sales over here. Now this is my sales. I also wanted to see a profit so that I can compare what is my profit and what is my sales. So you can take this and drop it on the line. So I can from here compare that what is my profit, what is my sales. Correct. Now, if I've been given the locations where my office is where do I do a sales, you can create a map. In case you want to show just some values or compare the values, you can take a metrics. If you have to show highlight the key numbers, you can use card. See, there is no okay. So like you take a map. Now for map, only the things will come which has a latitudes and longitudes associated with it, like your country, states, cities, etc. Now, if you take it as a region, it will not give you. Why it will not give you? Because region does not have a latitudes and longitudes. Correct? So you will have to study about some charts. Basic things I have already explained. That card, what is technically, if I say 90% of the time you will use one. So till this point, whatever chart you see, you will 90% see this chart only. There will be some specific industries which uses specific types of charts. Like if you go in the project management, if you want to build your career in project management, they use Gantt chart. Anyone knows what is a Gantt chart? Anyone knows what is a Gantt chart? So basically in project management, what happens is you have different tasks. Correct, monitor progress. So basically if you go to, like, if there is a construction of a hospital, in the construction of hospital there are different tasks, and those tasks are defined. This will be my start date and this will be my end date, and this chart shows that this task, this is the start date, this is the end date, and where we are today, what percentage of progress we have done. Correct. In the finance industry, if you go, they use a box plot, box and whisker. Correct. So they can use those charts. In the stock markets, they use candlestick charts to analyze the movement of the price of the share and volume of the share. So these are your specific industry wise. So if you know about these many charts, it's fine. Correct. Over here, now instead of this region, I can take my country for states. If I drop a state, it will show me all the states. No, you don't have a, see, histogram is also like a bar chart only. Histogram is not a unique chart over here. See, it just shows the frequency. When it shows the frequency, what does it mean? Like if each group is given 0 to 10, how many people are there? 10 to 20, how many people are there? 20, 30 to 40, how many people are there? So it's just your bar chart only, kind of a bar chart. It's just they say, okay, we will see. If I go up over here and if I show you column chart versus histogram. Column and bar charts are show discrete data, whereas variable in related to the next. Correct, continuous data. So age group like 0 to 10, 10 to 20, it becomes a continuous chart. The only difference in the histogram is they will chart side by side like this, whereas a bar chart will come with a certain space. That's it. So in case over here, see, this will be called as your histogram, this will be called as your bar chart. But technically both the things shows the same thing. So you can just look over here. get more visuals, but since you don't have that account, you will not be able to import it. So you can see histogram comes up. So you will have to import that histogram. Correct. So this was the question of, just give me a minute, I will do it. Yes, bins are used in histograms. So you can create a bin, there are three dots, and you can say bins will be created on your numerical data only. So you can go over here. I think they have changed something. So you can go to this new group, and in this new group, you can create your bins. Correct? So see, what is a hierarchy? Hierarchy is a logical sequence of the objects, so that you can see the bottom down approach over here. For example, if you have a data over here, what is the top level data over here? Country. After country, what will come? States. After state, what will come? Cities. Correct? Now suppose over here, if I take this country over here, if I create a country over here, I can only see your one data over here. Now if I have to see the states also, if I have to see a states also, I will have to drag it on over here. Now I say I don't want to see the data at a state level. I only want to see it as country level. You will have to remove it. If I again want to do any analysis, I will have to bring it. So what we do, we create a hierarchy. So we go to this country and say create hierarchy. A hierarchy will be created over here. And then we will go to state. Now we will add the items in a logical sequence way. And then we will add it to country hierarchy. We can go to city. I will add it to your. Now what will happen over here? If you take it, this drill down feature comes up. I can click it over here. I can see the data at a state level. I think your city is not added. Okay, so I will remove this, and take it over here. Now I can see it at a state in city level. Correct? So this is the meaning of drill down feature. You can keep as it is. In the nulls, you can just write NE. That's an indication of your. Yeah. Now journal queries on Power BI. Advantages of Power BI. Advantages of Power BI is you can create a chart without using any. Anyone has tried creating charts in Excel? Anyone? Is there anyone with a data? Have you created any charts? So how do you create a chart? Suppose if you have to show region-wise sales, you have to create a pivot. Then only you can create a chart, yes or no? If I have this data over here, if I have to create a region wise, I have to insert a chart over here. I have to insert a bar chart over here. Correct? You cannot create a chart directly over here. What you will have to do, you will have to pivot it and then create it. Whereas in Power BI, you can directly drag and drop over here. So first, in your Power BI, you can create charts very easily. They are more attractive in nature. There is more interactivity. Plus, the type of charts which you can get in Power BI are more as compared to your Excel or any other tool. This is one of the benefits of your Power BI. Second thing, if you use other tools, you might have to write codes. Over here, you don't have to write any codes also. It's just a simply drag and drop. That's it. Correct? Now, what are dimensions and measures? Dimensions are your categorical values. What do you mean by categorical values? Attributes like your gender or your states, categories. What could be your categories? Mobile, technology, office supply, gender could be male, female, trans, regions could be north, south, east, west. What could be your states? Delhi, Mumbai, Delhi, Maharashtra, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu. So what are these? These are your categorical values which you can, it is like a discrete, non-continuous form. Whereas measures are your continuous form of the data. Like sales, your numbers can go from 0 to infinity. Correct? Now you have to see anything on which you cannot perform mathematical operations. Anything on which you cannot perform mathematical operations is called as your dimension, whereas other thing will be called as measures. So when I call it as a mathematical operations, it means addition, multiplication, subtraction, or deletion. Oh, sorry, division. You cannot divide gender by male by female. You cannot divide Delhi by Kolkata. You cannot multiply Delhi, Kolkata. Correct? So few things are those which can be considered as dimensions and measures both, like your wages. Wages can be used both. Dates can be used as both. Now next, see, it does not mean creating less number of charts or less number of pages is the effective way to create a chart. It's your formation of the data, how cleaned way you have put it up as a data. That is that matters more rather than showing as a less number of chart. Correct? For example, I can create this chart over here in Power BI. I take this chart. I take the category. I take the sales. I can drop the profit also over here. Correct? Or instead of profit, let me just drop the regions on the legends. Now what does this become? A stacked bar chart. And then I further break it down using small multiples. Take this segment and drop it over here. Now this does not mean I've see on one chart I've created showing so many things that it will make any impact. No. Your data should be easily presentable. Minimum, there is no minimum or maximum number of charts which you can do it. All right. So I think these were your major types, major questions. Correct. So you can just go to data and just say, go to Power Query and you can just say remove errors. You don't need a subscription to publish your data. But Srinivas, do you have a domain email ID? So see, you can only use your Power BI service like I am using. If I show you over here, this is your Power BI service. Correct? This is a cloud-based platform. To create an account on your Power BI service, you should have a domain email ID. See, my domain is rpagsv.onmicrosoft.com. In case you don't have a domain email ID, you cannot create an account on Power BI service. If you have an account on Power BI service, then only you can publish your data. Because you will see over here, if you go to home, your publish option will be disabled. My is enabled because it's signed up over here. If it's not signed up, it will be deactivated. Correct? Okay, Durga, there is a catch over here. Have you downloaded? You have to buy a domain, Shubhankar. Durga, have you downloaded this Excel file? Now see, which task you are not able to do it? Week 1, day 1, which one? Then only I can explain you. Correct. Now this is your first file. Just let me see. So see, if you're using WEO file, correct? If you're using a WEO file, then what you will have to do, you will have to open up an Excel file. You will have to open up that file in your data source. You will go to File, click on Save As. Click on Save As, browse, and save it in the Excel workbook format. It will work. As of now, it is in your. Just give me a second. correct? So you will just click it over here and you connect that file. So you will have to go to Power Query and you have to just remove the errors, correct? In that, you have to just open that file and you have to just click on remove errors. That's it. If anyone has a file, can you share it over the chat? You can connect so many types of data sources, correct? Can anyone drop a message or drop it on the chat? Any file? That file WEO? So I'm saving it as .xls for file. No, it's disabled for everyone. No one can unmute themselves. So see, in case you are not able to understand, you will open up that file. You will go to file. You will go to file and you will save as .xlx form. File, save as, browse, Excel workbook, correct? Next thing, you will go over here, click on this Excel workbook. You will click on downloads. You will connect this file, open it up. You will click this data, transform this data. I have already shown you how you can know that whether there is now first rows as headers. I will do it. And now you can see I can make it on entire data set. Now if you will see, first I will remove the blank rows. Now if you go over here, now this is your null, 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 null. So you can just say remove blank rows. Over here, there is this blank column. So you can remove it. Now see, if you go over here, 192 Vietnam. Now see, above will not go null. If it is coming null, there is a data over here. Now how it can go? This is not a null row. It is a data which is present over here. Correct? Durga, if it's completely null, then only it will go. Else it will not go. So you have to do additional steps over here. You have to unpivot the data and then do it. So you can keep as it is. If there is a null, see, technically there is one more step which you will have to do it and then it will. Now see, you can see what is the problem over here. There is a NAs which are coming up. These are your problems. In 184 row where there is a NA, correct? So you will have to unpivot the data. How you will unpivot the data? You will select. Can you see this? All these are your part of one dimension, which is your year. You just do unpivot columns, and then you will make it as this year. You will make it as a sales or GDP. Now in this GDP, you will just remove NAs. Why will you remove NAs? Because everything is coming as a value, and this is NA is a text. NA is a text. So how you are unpivoting? You will select all the years from 2020 to 2027. Correct? And then you will go over here, add column, transform, unpivoted. Year, and this is your GDP. And then you will just deselect your NAs. All right. I have again, Rupam, I have again. Now can you see my screen? Rupam. So you will have to unpivot 2020 till 2027. Shift, select this. All these tables will be selected. Then you will just click on unpivot. That's it. It will come to the two column. One will become your year, other will become your GDP. When you are in the GDP, you will just deselect your NAs. Correct? So I cannot share the data set over here. Sorry. Cool. I think I have taken up all the doubts. Who's from the audience school? I just forget the name. So you can just drop a mail to the success factors. They will share some important interview questions with you. All right. All right, guys. I think this is all over here. You can share your feedback. In case there are some doubts which are left with you, you can ask in the class. All right.
Yeah, thank you, Puneet, for the wonderful session. So, guys, if you're still having a doubt, so you can send a mail to success@thetutorialschool.com. And please, guys, don't forget to give the feedbacks. So once I'll be ending the session, so you can give the feedbacks for this doubt clarification session. So thank you everyone for joining the session, and thank you, Puneet.
Thank you.
Yeah. So now I'm ending the session. Thank you all.